Okay, welcome to Chapter 11 where we start organic chemistry and CE chemistry. We are going to learn all about organic compounds. Organic compounds contain carbon. It's all around us. It's what was living in the real world at one time, usually is considered carbon. I've got a way to remember some of the naming things. I made a little ditty that goes to the song One Little, Two Little, Three Little Indians. I know it's not politically correct anymore, but we just need the tune. So I'm going to sing it to you, and then we're going to put different words to it. It goes, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Indians, 10 little Indian boys. Now, of course, we're going to change the words. So here we go. It is simple, you can do it, you can name organic compounds. Learn this song, memorize it, then you're on your way. 1 methane, 2 ethane, 3 propane, 4 butane, 5 pentane, 6 hexane, 7 heptane, 8 octane, 9 nonane, 10 is decane. Now you've got it. You can name organic chemicals if you know these 10. If there is a double bond, you change the ending to ene. If there is a triple bond, you change it to yne. Okay, so I would go back over that section of the video at least 3 times because they say it takes 3 times to get it stuck in your head. And we're going to be using it in class, and it will help you to know what's going on. So going forward, these are all the names of the chemicals, 1 to 10. Now we're going to go a little bit farther than 10. We'll talk about that in a later video. But the basic ones are 1 through 10. So we've got methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, and decane. And you can see from pentane down, that is normal for what we are experiencing, like on the sides of a pentagon, a hexagon, a heptagon. We know those mean 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The ones that you really have to worry about memorizing are the first ones, meth meaning 1, eth meaning 2, prop meaning 3, and but meaning 4. And sometimes they throw in, instead of ethane, it would be acetylene or cetylene. And we'll worry about that in a little bit. But the A and E means that it's all single bound. So the general formula for an A and E bound organic molecule is CnH2n plus 2. If I have one double bond, or it becomes a cyclic, and we'll talk about cyclics in a little while, then you take one of those sets of hydrogens out, and you get the formula CnH2n. If I end up with a triple bond, then I'm going to take 2 sets of hydrogen out, and so I'll end up with CnH2n minus 2. Now that's just for 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice, and I put this in here. These groups are whiny because they tend to be under a lot of pressure. We're going to see examples. So I'm going to get out of this. Okay, so let's do some examples. So if I have a 3-carbon chain, every carbon needs 4 bonds. So each bond that's coming off that's not part of the carbon chain is going to be a hydrogen. So we can write it like this. This is an expanded structure. You'll see me doing a lot of what's called skeletal structures, where we just worry about the carbon bonds, and the rest is assumed. Another version is what is called condensed, where you have CH3, CH2, CH3. And if you notice up above, my CH3 is on the end, and my CH2 in the center. That's what I've written right here. Okay, so there's that way to write it. There's also what's known as a line diagram. Now, these do not lay flat. It's a 3D molecule, and so in space, and when we're building models of it, you'll actually see it go like this. Each of these points right here, here, and here represents a carbon, but we don't put the points on, we just draw it like that. Okay? And again, every carbon has to have 4 bonds, so they're not written, but these 2 would be hydrogen. You'd have 3 hydrogen here, and you'd have 3 hydrogen here. But again, all that's written is just that. Okay, so now we need to go into naming. So the easiest one is just if you have a long chain. So if I have something like this, I would go into counting first. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 carbons. So 7 carbons, if I look back at my list, is heptane. Okay, I could also write heptane this way. Okay, or I can put in my hydrogens, and I like to do tick marks first and then go back and put the hydrogens in if I'm going to do an expanded version, because it takes a while to get all these hydrogens back in where they go. Now, my formula will be C7H16, which is 2 times the hydrogens, 2 times the amount of carbon plus 2 hydrogens on the end. So the end ones right here are my extra plus 2. Okay, so we can do that for basics. Let's go on, and what happens if I attach something to it? So say that I had a 4 carbon chain and I had 1 carbon attached to it. Well, when I attach a group to it, I change the ending, because the ending for this right here, 1 carbon, would have been methane, right? Well, methane becomes meth-YL, so it becomes a YL when it's attached to something. Now we do need to count. Now I could count this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, or I could count this way, 1, 2, 3, 4. The green way gives me the lowest number, so that's the way I actually count, and I write at 2 dash, there's a methyl group, and it's a 4-long chain, which was butane, so I just butt up butane to it, and I'm done. Okay, let's do another one. Say that I had C, 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 okay, and I have another here, and I have another here and here. Okay, I don't want you to get used to picking the straight one as being the longest chain. Longest chain can curve and twist. So I am going to count here the longest chain. Now I can count it this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or I can count it this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, which way am I going to count it? Well, if I look at the red, the first things come off at 3, and I've got 2 things that are coming off at 3. I've got 2 groups of 2 coming off the chain, and I have 1 group of 1 coming off the chain. So I've got 2 ethyls, because this is an ethane group, so that's an ethyl and that's an ethyl. And I have, let's use green, a methyl group. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, I've got 2 groups coming off if I count the red way of number 3. If I count in the green way, I've only got 1 group coming off at number 3. So because there's more groups coming off of number 3 on the red way, that's the way I'm going to count. Now, here comes a trick. I have ethyls and I have methyls. Which goes first? We do it alphabetically. So I have 2 methyl groups. One is at, now remember I'm using the red, 3, and one is at 5, and there's 2 ethyl groups. So I go di, meaning 2, and ethyl. Then the next group coming off is a methyl, so I do a dash, because anytime I go through from a number to a letter, I do a dash. Dash 3 dash methyl. Now I do the long chain, which is 7, which is a heptane. So heptane. Okay, so let's go do some more. It's not too bad. I hope you're doing all right. So let's do another one. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with 2 coming off here and 4 coming off there. Okay. Longest chain. Again, you want to count all directions, all possible directions. So I count my longest chain right now as 9. Can you find it? Longest chain is 9. Okay, now I'm going to take with a red, and I am going to, I actually like to, once I find my longest chain, use my fingers and go in with my fingers counting 1, 2, 3, 4 until I find which one comes off lowest. So I've already done that, and I know I need to start counting like this. Because I know if I went backwards from 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the first thing that something came off of. The other way it was 4. So now I like to, with organic, I love to have different colored pencils near me or markers, because then I go and I circle the different groups. I've got this kind of group here, and I've got this kind of group here. Okay, so now I know what's going on. Now I can go back and name it. Oh, that group is an ethyl, and the green group is a methyl. Okay, so now it's just a matter of naming it. So ethyl comes first alphabetically, so it's going to come first in the name. So at 5, I have an ethyl group. Remember to put a dash in between letters and numbers. And at number 4, I have a methyl group. And the length of the chain is 9, which is non-ane. How do you do? Okay, let's do another one down here below, and then I'm going to give you a couple on the other side and have you pause the video and try them on your own. Okay, so let's do ooh, this one's tricky. Now, in your book, there's a page where it tells you about what happens if it doesn't attach on the end of a chain. So this actually right here is isopropyl, this attachment right here. Okay, if that's not part of my longest chain. Now, I don't have to name it that as part of my longest chain. So let's go back, and I'm going to erase that, whoops, and put it back in. Whoops, try dark. Because I can make that part of my longest chain, and then it's not a problem. Okay, so if I make that part of my longest chain, because my longest chain I count is 6. So if I start here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I now can circle the things that I've got attached. I'm going to use green for methyls, and I'm going to use blue for ethyls. And once you get used to or get into a habit of using a certain color for a certain thing that's coming off, it makes life a lot easier. You don't have to write the name now. Now I just name them. Okay, so ethyl and methyl, I know ethyl comes first. So I go 3 ethyl dash 2 comma 4 dash, now there's 2 methyl groups, so I put a di in front, dimethyl. And then the longest chain is 6, which is hexane, and I just bump that word right up next to it. And I'm done. Okay, let's go forward. Let's give you some to do on your own. I'm going to divide the board into 4. Okay, here you go. Okay, I've got them all drawn up for you. Go ahead and pause the video and then come back when you think you've got the answers, because I want you to try it on your own. All right, I'm coming back, and I'm going to do this with you. So this one, really quickly, you would number this way. So we have 8, and we have 1 group coming off, which is an ethyl. So to name this, you're just going to go 4 ethyl, And then 8 is octane, so you just bump that right into octane. Done. Next one. You will start here or here. It doesn't matter, any of the carbons here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I just don't want you to get used to picking the straight line. Okay, so then I've got things attached. We'll use the blue for methane here. Okay, so I've got 2,2-dimethyl, and then 6 is hexane. Okay, going on to the next one. Longest chain. Okay, well, it doesn't matter which way I choose, but this probably will be the better way to choose. Remember, again, I don't want to pick necessarily the straight chain. You could. It'll give you the same answer, but it's not necessarily always the longest. So we're going to use the green for the propane group this time and the blue for the methane group. So then we go ahead, prop and meth. Meth comes first. So 4-methyl dash 4-propyl, and then 8 is octane, so smash octane right next to it, and you're done. Last one. Coming down here, 1, 2, 3, let's go up, 4, fix that C. Okay, that means I've got 1, 2, 3 methane groups, and so this one would be 2-2-3 dash, or comma, tri, meaning 3, methyl, and then the longest chain is 4, which is butane, and we're done. Okay, I'll see you in class.